Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy C. Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Marty Van Ravensway, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation this morning will be delivered by our own Dave Barrett from the Sheriff's Department. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges.
Shall we pray? Oh God, we thank you for the stirrings of new life that mark this time of the year. We are grateful for the fresh flowing of energy and vitality in our bodies and the desires that stir our souls. Help us to remember, though, that the power for life that is in us, the life force that stirs our senses, and the might that is in our hearts does not come from us, but is your gift to us. Help us to use those gifts with love and integrity for the good of all, for truly every person we meet is our neighbor, and the sincere service we render to others, you take as being rendered to yourself. We dedicate ourselves, therefore, to think higher, speak kinder, and do greater. We ask only that you make us your instruments for the good of all and the glory of God. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Dave. Mr. Manius?
Your Honor, we do not have any announcements at this time.
Very much. Court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of March the 30th.
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We're going to begin with our proclamations, and then we're going to end up with our employee recognitions this month. So our first proclamation is for Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I will read that into the record. Whereas in Texas in 2009, reports for child abuse or neglect resulted in 165,444 completed investigations, with 12,476 of those being in Tarrant County, and whereas 6,030 of these children were confirmed as victims of child abuse or neglect in Tarrant County in 2009, and whereas Alliance for Children provided first-time child-focused investigative services to 2,344 children in 2009, and whereas finding solutions to prevent child abuse is a community responsibility and depends on involvement of all citizens, and whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs that benefit children and their families, and whereas effective child abuse prevention, investigation, and treatment programs succeed because of partnerships among public and private agencies, schools, religious organizations, medical services, and the business community, now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, urge all citizens to beware of signs of child abuse and act to protect the children of Tarrant County. Be it further resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim April 2010 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Tarrant County. In witness whereof, we have heretofore set our hands and caused the seals of Tarrant County to be affixed this 6th day of April 2010. And I move its approval.
Second.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimously, and I have been passed a note to remind me that the child abuse flag is flying in front of the old courthouse today. We have several different organizations as well as representatives from each one of those organizations. Nancy Hagan is the executive director from Alliance for Children. Nancy, come on down. We have other folks, I believe Julie Evans from, Julie, stand up, from the Alliance for Children. We have Alana Minton from the District Attorney's Office. We have folks from our CPS, board members as well as staff. Y'all please stand up. We have folks from the Fort Worth Police Department. I believe Lieutenant Linda Stewart is here. Welcome. Arlington Police Department, Sergeant Rico, here we go. Lucero? Lucero. Well, we were close. It'll stick around. It gets a lot worse before it gets better. We have Cook's Children's Hospital, Dr. Jamie Kaufman. Catholic Charities and CASA also are here. Please stand up. There you go. Lena Pope Home, and then also the Women's Center. Thank you all very much for being here. Let's give all these folks a big round of applause. Safe Haven is also here. Of course, they're sorry about that. Again, congratulations. Saw your billboard as I'm coming in now on Airport Freeway, so welcome to make any comments you'd like to make. Picture. I'm sorry. Very important. That's right.
I'd just like to thank Commissioners Court on behalf of the entire Tarrant County Child Protection Team for the wonderful support children have received in this community through your efforts. We appreciate your recognition of this problem and everything you do to help us solve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. And I really do want to thank everyone and all of the work you do, as we said in the resolution. And sometimes we get kind of lost in the whereases, but what makes this a successful program in Tarrant County is everybody working together, trying to make sure that our children have an opportunity to grow up in a safe environment. So, again, thank you very much for that. Commissioner Brooks.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have a proclamation for ratification only this morning, but it honors the 100th anniversary of Catholic Charities in this community and will be presented on Friday at the dedication of their brand-new facility. I move its approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We're excited about the opening of the new facility, and I hope we'll all be able to make it out there for that. Next, Commissioner Fickus, I believe you have a proclamation.
I certainly do, and this is, we do a lot of proclamations, but for me personally, obviously, this is the most important proclamation that I do and will probably ever do. This is proclamation for National Donate Life Month, Donate Live Month, and for me personally, obviously, my survival is dependent being an organ recipient, so this is a wonderful day for me to be able to do this. And we have today with us, we have from Life Gift, we have Ron Earl. Ron, you want to? We also have Deb Powers, and is Teresa Schaefer? Teresa?
No,
She couldn't be here today. And then we have two real heroes, and I apologize for not getting out of a meeting earlier to meet you, but we have Linda and Gary Looper. Loopers are here? Is that okay? I apologize. And their daughter passed away, and they made the greatest gift. They donated her organs, which saved, I believe, 2, possibly more lives with kidney transplants. So at this time, and you're the real hero, I promise you. Let me read this proclamation. Whereas more than 106,000 people in the United States are in need of an organ for transplant, with someone added to the waiting list every 12 minutes. And whereas every day about 77 people get the gift that gives them a second chance at life, while nearly 20 die because a donor was not elected. And whereas the gift of life touches all people as a single organ and tissue donor can help more than 50 people of all ages and creeds from all cultures and social backgrounds. And whereas National Donate Life Month was established in 2003 to recognize the tremendous generosity of those who have saved lives by donating organs, tissue, bone marrow, and blood to encourage more Americans to follow their fine example. And whereas during the month of April, Life Gifts partner hospitals will display a Donate Life flag for 24 hours each time a donation occurs. And whereas Life Gift will hold its Second Chance Run on May 15th in order to heighten awareness of the plight of those who are in need of a second chance at life through organ donation. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2010 as National Donate Life Month in Tarrant County to draw public attention to this great need. And further, we urge all citizens of Tarrant County to register to be an organ donor with the Glenda Dawson Donate Life Texas Registry and share this decision with family members so that we can take the first step in eliminating the national waiting list for organ transplants. I move for approval. Yes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
And all of you out here have a chance to run in that on May 15th, to run in our run, and we'll be sending out some information. Walk, run, whatever you want to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. And I want to thank Judge Whitley and the entire court for this, on the occasion of Donate Life Month, for the opportunity to raise awareness of the critical need for organ tissue, marrow, and blood donation, and recognize and pay homage to the donor families. This court historically has been very supportive of this cause. And we are blessed to have in our community so many who are gifted with the character and capacity to take that brave step forward in the face of personal and family loss and make that courageous decision to donate, such as the Lufer family. We are also blessed to have in our community leaders such as yourselves who recognize and honor the memory of those who donated. Let it be known that the proclamation received here today is our community's wholehearted commitment to the memory of those who changed someone's world by being a donor. It is these inspiring profiles and courage we have been blessed to be part of that gives us hope for those who continue to wait for a life-saving transplant. Out here on the table, I did provide some forms. Those of you who could pick it up, register. I'm going to put Marianne on the spot. If they would just turn that in to Marianne, we will come pick it up, and we will be sure that you get listed on the registry. Unfortunately, the state of Texas lags far behind in the rest of the country in the number of registered donors. And I think that Tarrant County, can step up and lead the charge here in the state of Texas, and let's be number one as far as the counties in Texas. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson, I believe you have a certificate of appreciation.
I do, for George B. Mackey, who served on our Sheriff Civil Service Board. If you would read that into the record, please.
Yes. Presented to George B. Mackey, an appreciation for your dedication and leadership in service to the community as a member of the Tarrant County Sheriff's Department Civil Service Commission from 2008 to 2010. George, we appreciate very much your service.
And I move for its approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to serve, and it was an honor to serve our county. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Let me present this to you. Thank you very much for your time on the commission. We appreciate your service. Thank you.
Turn around there and get a picture. Now, as is our custom, on the first Tuesday of each month, we recognize employees who've been with us for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and so forth. For those that have been there for 20 years plus, we also, I give them a call and talk with them. Sometimes it's a little near the end of or right before the meeting. Roger Ruth this morning came into my office as he was coming to the meeting for us to sit down and have that chat. So, but we look forward to this. I especially look forward to this each month. So as I call your name, please stand and remain standing until we finish that particular group. And we're going to begin with our 5-year employees. And first is Jennifer Arrington from Domestic Relations. Jennifer. Daniel Bina from District Clerk's Office. Cornelius Cooper from Juvenile Services. Davy Estes from District Attorney's Office. Mary Hernandez from District Attorney's Office. Charlotte Larson from the Tax Office. Nina Lopez from the Administrator's Office. Hugo Martinez from the District Attorney's Office. Stephen Mueller from Facilities Management. Stephen. Felicia Salazar from the District Clerk's Office. Maria Salazar from Facilities Management. Any relation? Just wanted to check. It's a family affair around here. Julian Salomon from Juvenile Services. Euphema Cerna from County Clerk's Office. Mickey Smith from the 48th District Court. Sherry Steen from County Court at Law Number 3. Sylvia Wilson from the District Clerk's Office. And Kelton Young from Juvenile Services. These are our 5-year employees. Let's give them a round. Now for our 10-year employees. Belinda Batty from Juvenile Services. Yvonne Brinkley from Public Health. Paula Cox from County Clerk's Office. Charles Howell from CSCD. Stephen Keene, Precinct 2, Maintenance. Joseph Kuhn from Information Technology. Barbara Massey from the County Clerk's Office. No, keep standing. You got to keep standing. You just thought you were going to get away with that, didn't you? You made the mistake of when I was looking on your side of the deal there. It's much more embarrassing when you don't follow instructions. Barry Patrick from the County Clerk's Office. Gabriel Smith from the District Attorney's Office. Angela Trainlee from the Auditor's Office. Rosalind Walton from Sheriff Confinement. And Sandra Welch from the County Clerk's Office. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you. Now for our 15-year employees. Stephanie Allred from Sheriff Confinement. Joseph Barker from Sheriff Information Technology. Baker. I saw it, I just didn't read it right. Tara Barrett from Information Technology. Elizabeth Black, Sheriff Confinement. Raymond Coleman, CSCD. Keith Etheridge, Facilities Management. Mark Fondren from the Medical Examiner's Office. Michael Gravitt from Sheriff Confinement. You know, I'm sorry, it's just, you got to work with me on these things. John Harris from the Medical Examiner's Office. John. Eddie Harridge from the Sheriff Confinement. There you go. Albert Hudson from CSCD. Glenn Johns from Precinct 4 Maintenance. Rosalie Kerr from Information Technology. Welcome. Donna Martin from the Tax Office. Maya Toynes, Sheriff Patrol. Holly Webb, County Clerk's Office. Alan Whitten, Sheriff Confinement. And Letitia Welburn from Sheriff's Courts. Let's give our 15-year employees. Now, again, as I said, for our 20-plus, I give them a call and we talk and have an opportunity to find out a little bit about them. Our first 20-year employee today is Richard Almendarez from the Sheriff Confinement. Where's Richard? Started out in the Green Bay facility and got his peace officer's license within about a year, and then was promoted into the classification area in 1993, and is still in classification with emphasis on gang analysis in the confinement area. When I asked him about his most memorable moments, it was working with the DA's office in the gang activities area. And in talking with Richard, what I could tell is he really has a passion for working in the area of the gang-related areas. And I think he really makes a difference in that. When I asked him what he liked most, it was the things that, that the Sheriff's Department is constantly changing, that it's always fresh, that there's a lot of variety there. And then one other thing that he said that he's been very excited about was the fact that he had an opportunity to teach new hires, again, regarding gang activities. Richard, we appreciate very much your 20 years of service with Tarrant County. Next is...
You could tell him he could sit down.
You can sit down. I kind of, That's all right. We need somebody that we can just kind of, Our next 20-year employee is someone who we all know, Judge Linda Beardman Davis. Judge Davis. Judge Davis started out, it was interesting in talking with her. She started out as our jury administrator and then ran for JP in 1998. When I asked her about her more memorable moments, she said it was just the opportunity to work in the jury area and to really change that whole system and to see the development of the automated program. She tells the story that she never really planned on coming to work for the county, that she had real estate, and that she was actually in a pottery class with Judge Bingham, and that he kept saying, well, you ought to come to work for the county. We need somebody to help us with the jury area. And she said, she kept saying no, and he kept saying, you really need to come down. She says, why don't you just go down there one day and just look at it and just see what you might do. And so she finally agreed to do that, and one thing led to another, and she came in and she started work for the county, and has, as she said, she just loves how the county treats its people. She says the people she's had a chance to work with have just been absolutely great, and that she has had what she feels like is the opportunity to work with some of the greatest staff, not only in the jury area but also in her area as JP. And that that a real sign of how much our folks are dedicated to public service and how they really enjoy what they're doing is the very, very low turnover. She said, it has really been an honor to work for the county, and she said she just doesn't think she's ever going to retire, and we hope you never do. So thank you very much for your 20 years. Now, next is Linda Busby, and she was not going to be able to make it. She works the third shift and was going to be unable to attend today in the Sheriff's confinement area. Then next is Monica Elstrom, who is in CSCD, and she is celebrating 20 years, but she likewise was not able to make it down here today. She actually hurt her back over the weekend, and while she is at work, I talked with her earlier this morning, and she said, I can't even walk across the street. So if you see Monica, if you have a chance to see her today, be sure and congratulate her on her 20 years of service.
She'll like that.
And then our next one is Brian King from CSCD, or from CDC 3, 20 years, and he likewise was not able to make it down here today. So we had a run there, but after him, okay, I'm going to have to go back and try to find one in just a second. You're going to have to work with me on my, I see you over there gloating.
Judge Mitchell.
Well, I know it's Judge Mitchell. And I had Judge Mitchell up, and then what I did is I got him right there.
Computers are fast, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Every once in a while that happens. Judge Mitchell, 20 years of service. Judge Mitchell, welcome. Started out, really ran for, has been a lawyer in Tarrant County and decided to run for office. Has been in office now 20 years. When I asked him about a more memorable moment, he said, there used to be this TV show called Cheaters. And he said at one point in time, he had 5 of their employees on a trial because they had, I think they were eventually found innocent, so maybe they had not unlawfully restrained this lady, but she thought they did, and she had filed a case against them. But that was the trial he remembers most from that standpoint. When I asked him what he liked most, he said it was the people that he comes in contact both within and without of the county. He said, I enjoy my time with the county, the benefits. When I asked him about anything else, he said that he had, I guess prior to having the opportunity to come to Tarrant County, he worked with the city, worked as a municipal judge. And I think this is something that all of our elected officials and really every one of our employees, he says, I really work hard to try to find ways to save money. That sounds sometimes just trite, but I really do believe that our folks go out every day looking for ways to not only serve the public, but also to efficiently and effectively serve the public. One of the things he said, I split a court reporter with another court. So he's continuously kind of watching the nickels and dimes. And Judge, we appreciate very much you doing that, and we appreciate the 20 years of service you've given us. Thank you. Next is Roger Root, CDC 396, spent 20 years with the county. Started out in the Belknap area, Belknap jail, then went into the warrants division, then went back to confinement, spent a little bit of time over in the recruiting area, and now is in Judge Gallagher's court. He said he wanted to, say that it was the most organized court, and we surely know that that's not because of Judge Gallagher, so it must be because of Roger. When I asked him about his more memorable moments, he said it was during his warrants, the time that he spent in warrants, and it was his ability to get bad folks off the streets. And I think this is especially appropriate today with our child abuse month. He said, at one point in time, he said, I knew this gentleman. In fact, I think he'd been a member of your church maybe who had, or a little girl in the church who had been molested by someone. And he happened to know that guy, and when he was in the warrants, he saw that warrant. He said, I think I can find this guy. And so he went back and did some checking and found the guy had moved way out into the other part of the state, out in the rural area. But he called and he really followed up on this guy and was able to secure his arrest through the assistance of another county down near Houston. And he said, I took a little bit of special pride when the guy was arrested and brought back to Tarrant County of going by and letting him know that I was the reason why he was caught and in jail. And the guy had no idea, he thought he was safe in that area, but it was through Deputy Root's aggressive and just staying with it type attitude that he was able to bring this gentleman to justice and put him in prison where he belonged. He loves public service. He said, you know, I love the respect that I get of wearing a uniform. And he said, I have always just loved being in law enforcement. When I asked him, he says he hopes to be here for many more years. He said, I have one grandchild and I have one grandchild on the way, another grandchild on the way. He says, I'm going to enjoy fishing with him. Roger, we appreciate very much the 20 years you've given us, and we hope you'll be around for many more years. Next is Latona Dickens from the District Clerk's Office. She didn't think she was going to be able to make it down here today. She has spent 20 years, started off in the personnel area, but if you see her today, be sure and congratulate her on her 25 years of service. Next is Bill Irwin from the IT, 25 years. There's Bill. Started out in the county clerk's office. He said, the thing that was always he thought funny about that is he took a typing test in order to be able to write in a book. He spent some time in the marriage licenses area and then went into deed records and then filled a supervisor slot in that particular area. Has managed the servers in the county clerk's area and is now the manager of technical operations. He's in the IT area, but he's really in the county clerk's area. As you'll recall, several years ago when we put all the IT folks from the various departments over into IT, we did that, but at the same time we did not move the folks, and they continued to work for their particular areas. When I asked him what he liked most, he said there was never a dull moment. He's had tons of friends. He indicated the county was like a big extended family. He said the other thing, he had a little time in private, is he said the paychecks never bounce. He said that was always a good feeling. When I asked him about anything else, he said, I met my wife while I was working in deed records. He said, I learn new things every day. I've had an opportunity to learn new things every day. He never gets bored. And then he went on to say, and again, we've heard this before, but he said, I really enjoy the opportunities, the volunteer opportunities that Tarrant County gives us, the WOW programs and the educational opportunities. And I'm betting that you brought your wife with you today. And why don't you stand up and let us recognize you also, and thank both of y'all for your years of service. Next is Sandra Godfrey. Got to stand up, Sandra. Sandra has been with the county for 25 years. Started out with O.L. Watson as his executive secretary. She said, I wasn't sure exactly how long that job was going to last. He was filling an an unexpired term, and so she was, she wasn't real sure about that. And then when Marty came in 1991, she stayed on board and has been with Marty ever since. She said, I have always loved this job and loved the opportunity to work with the county. It was just a great place to work. She said being able to work with people within the county and then also being able to serve the public was something that made a big, big difference to her. She said the time has really flown by. She did recount that she said, I think that I got one of the first what they called outlying computers. I think they were all downtown for the most part. She said, I was told when I got one out, in our offices that we had one of the first outlying. She says, they gave me at least 8 hours of training on how to use that thing. And she said, that wasn't near enough. She said, I thought that was kind of unique. Sandra, we appreciate very much your 25 years.
Sandra has said that she's loved working with the county ever since I first met her. She's never varied from that. So it's not something she just told you. She said that all along.
Well, we appreciate you very much. Next is Geraldine Kimball from Juvenile Services. There she is. Started out in the Joe Epstein, is that Yeah, that's it. Youth Center off of Boat Club Road, and then moved over to the Kimbo Road area where she works with the JJEP program. She said her most memorable moments was just the opportunity that she's had to work with the young youth and to really feel like that she's had an opportunity to make an impression and to be with them. She said, I really have enjoyed the opportunities, the people that I've had an opportunity to work with, and just the opportunity that the county has given me to grow here. And really, we appreciate very, very much the 25 years you've given us. Thank you. Next is Don Krull from Sheriff Confinement. There's Don. I started off in the Belknap jail, where so many, I think just about everybody that comes through the Sheriff's Department starts off, or mostly starts off in the Belknap, or started off in the Belknap facility. Then moved to the Corrections Center as a sergeant in charge of booking. Then to the bond desk, where he now supervises that particular desk. When asked about the more memorable moment, he said it's just, I guess, over the years, seeing the growth that has occurred in the jail. When I asked him what he liked most, he said, all 25 years have been positive. And I think, again, that portrays the attitude of so many folks who have a chance and who work for Tarrant County. I think they approach it from a positive way, and it just kind of exudes from them. And I think when it does, then it just kind of rolls over to everyone else. He said, I love the county benefits that the county offers and the pay. He said, I've always been happy with the treatment he's received. It's a great place to work. Met a lot of good people and made a lot of great friends. And I tell you what, Don, we appreciate very much the 25 years you've given us. Thank you. Next is A-Rod, Andreas Rodriguez. There he is. Started out in the Belknap, was only there for about 3.5 months. So started there, but got out of there pretty quick, and then went over to patrol, and has been in patrol, I guess, ever since. When I asked him what he liked most, he said, I've made an awful lot of friends. I love the job. Never had a day when he dreaded coming to work. And again, always tried to keep a very positive attitude, likes being able to help people. He said one of the things that I really enjoy doing is that I have an opportunity to translate for a lot of different agencies. And being out on patrol, I'm sure that that opportunity presents itself quite a bit. He said, I love the people who I've had a chance to work with. A-Rod was born in Mexico, came to the U.S. at age 7. Became a citizen at 19, and then went into the Army and was in the 101st Airborne. And he said, I was one of those guys that jumped out of a perfectly good airplane. And he said he came back and then ended up at the county and has really very much enjoyed his time with the county. And A-Rod, I want to tell you how much we appreciate the 25 years you've given to Tarrant County. Next is Frank Rojas with Sheriff's Courts, and he's celebrating 25 years, but he is also getting ready to retire on April the 16th and is in the process of moving to Kerrville. So he is not going to be able to be with us today. He has enjoyed, he said he enjoyed very much his time with the county, but is also looking forward to his retirement. And I believe I have not seen I've not seen Judge Womack. She indicated that she had a trial and that if it didn't settle, she wasn't going to be able to make it, and so it looks like it didn't settle. But she started out with the DA's office and had been there for 12 years. Actually, before she came to Tarrant County, she spent a year in the Ector County Attorney's Office. And then ran for judge in 1996. That was the same year I ran for commissioner, first time I ran for commissioner, and I remember handing out push cards in rather cold primary weather, and we both ended up in the runoff, and so we were also handing out the push cards during the runoff. So tell Judge Womack, if you see her today, and congratulate her on her 25 years of service with Tarrant County. All these employees represent a total of 875 years of service, and we appreciate, again, very, very much everything that you've done for us and continue to do for us, and we hope that you'll be with us for many, many more years. We have refreshments back in 504C, so at this time we'll kind of stand down while y'all head back that way. Again, thank you very much.
It is now. I don't think it was on.
That helps.
It wasn't on. Somebody, Carolyn gave me a note, and I looked at it. It wasn't. You know, look, I walked up here, and I assumed that somebody's taking care of it. He did. I know. I think Commissioner Johnson.
You like that feeling of power?
That was pretty loud, Judge.
That's blowback.
You have before you the consent agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Manius.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have 3 additional items for the Court's consideration this morning. The first item, we're requesting that the Commissioners Court approve the reappointment of Randy Reynolds as the Tarrant County Fire Marshal in accordance with Section 352.011 of the Texas Local Government Code.
Move approval.
Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? Randy, did you bring your better half along here this morning just for hope that you might get a little sympathy vote there? Welcome. We appreciate you coming. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Randy, and the job you do.
Your Honor, members of the Court, on item number 2, we're requesting that the Court approve an oil and gas lease with XTO Energy as it relates to the lease of oil and gas mineral rights under county-owned property, which is located at 2700 Bend Avenue in Fort Worth.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Finally, members of the Court, on item number 3, we're requesting that the Court also approve an oil and gas lease with XTO Energy as it relates to oil and gas mineral rights under county-owned property at the medical examiner's office.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Tidwell?
We have one item for the Court's consideration this morning, and that is to receive and file the Tarrant County financial statements for the 4 months ended January 31st, 2010.
Move approval.
Second.
We're three moves and 1 second. Any discussion? Please vote.
Thank you.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Mr. Phillips?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's requested that Commissioners Court approve a contract with HOK Architects for the architectural and engineering services related to the Civil Courts building project that was included in the 2006 Capital Improvement Program.
Move approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move to receive and file personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the personnel agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Glenn.
Ms. Glenn.
Ms. Brewer. Good morning.
Tarrant County Public Health has one item for your approval. This is to submit a Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Revitalizing Core Environmental Health Programs grant application.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Beecham. You're not coming down, huh?
I'm mourning Butler's loss last night.
Well, I noticed Ms. Lamb is in Texas colors today. Tennessee.
We have 2 items for your consideration this morning. The first item is bid number 2010-052. This is the annual contract for temporary radiologist for the Public Health Department. We're requesting approval per unit price for the primary, secondary, and alternate vendors listed on your communique.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
What do we do with these people? We have X-ray equipment in public health?
Yes, we do for TB.
Oh.
And this is our backup service, so that if our regular person is unable to be there, then this is who we pull on for backup services.
Okay.
Any other discussion or questions? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our second item is bid number 2010-046. This is our annual contract for fuels. We're requesting the award recommendation to the primary Martin Eagle Oil, and the secondary Douglas Distributing Company.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson, I believe you have an interlocal agreement.
Mr. Rack, has that been approved in the DA's office? I move approval of item 8J, 1A and B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Any appointments? You have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims, including the addendum. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Manion, briefing items?
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have one item that we'd like to bring to you and discuss with you this morning. This is the capital improvements program concerning the jail operations, or bids, excuse me.
Thank you.
You need some help handing those out.
I would like to update you on the new jail project included in the 2006 capital improvement program. The handout I just have given you is a graphical representation of the total capital budget for the new jail building and the correction center fire alarm and security replacement project. Back in February of 2006, we originally set the full capital budget for the jail building at $92 million. What I've given you today, and it looks like what will happen, it looks like we're going to be able to lower the full capital budget to about $84 million. And that $84 million also includes the correction center fire alarm and security work. I believe there are three major reasons that we're able to lower the numbers. Number one is we bought the building at the right time. Secondly, we've got feedback from a lot of the bidders that stated that the architectural, engineering, construction documents were very clean, crisp, and concise, and that really paid off. The architects and engineers did a wonderful job making sure everybody understood the bids and what was in them and what wasn't, and that allowed the bidders to provide very tight bids. So it worked out real well. The third thing is the Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff's Department has been with us from step one all through design process, and the Sheriff, Bob Knowles, and their staff made recommendations during the design process that allowed the architects to reduce the building by one floor, one level, which probably saved the county somewhere between $1 and $2 million of that number. So that worked out well for us. Regarding the construction site down the street for the jail, please be advised we plan to use the two surface parking lots to the west of the Plaza Garage on Weatherford Street. Two small lots. There's about 40 or so cars that park on those lots. Plan to use those for set our construction offices on, our temporary construction offices, and to use the area for a material laydown yard. Also, hopefully to minimize any additional laydown yard area we need and construction offices areas, we plan on putting some of the Gilbane building staff, probably 3/4 of them, in the 300 West Belknap building on the first floor. That will allow us to free up area on those two surface lots to put the additional trade contractors, trailers, materials, containers, and so on and so forth. That will hopefully save us around $50,000 to $75,000 through the project. We may or may not still need to rent some of the private property next door across the street for material laydown yards. We won't know until we completely work out the schedule regarding the granite and the brick and so on and so forth, but it certainly minimizes the impact regarding the rental. You will see me in a week or so. Maybe it's not next week, it'll be the following week. I'll be back up here to present to you the Gilbane Building Company guaranteed maximum price, and after that, we will start with the construction of the jail.
When are the buildings that we're going to take down? I constantly get asked, and I'm not sure. When are we taking down the old styrofoam building and then the other buildings that we're looking at?
Judge, we've got the drawings, and they've been approved by the Texas Historical Commission about restoring that west elevation. We'll need about $7 to $7.5 million to do that. First, we have to move the chilled water plant over to this building. Second, we have to demolish the civil courts building. Third, we restore the west elevation and the grounds. Each one of those is about $2.5 million each.
So what is your timetable for that?
Well, we've got it. We're going to put it in our long-term capital budget. Again, we'll probably put it in our capital budget for maybe at least doing some of that next year or two. And we do have planned to, going on 300 westbound at, long-term is to demolish that building. And we've got some folks in the building now. We need to move out before we do that.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah. So we'll do that. Now, the only thing that's holding us back, and we're working with Clayton McAllister and his folks about finding a way to deal with some of those trial courts. They use a couple of courtrooms over there. And if there's a way to configure other courtrooms or other areas for them to do business, that would help a lot. We also have 15 to 20 CSCD folks in there, and we have the mental health, mental diversion court, direct court, and some other folks in the building. Once we move all those folks out, we can see about shutting the building down. We can move those folks out in the next year or so, or before, we could save probably $300,000 in operating costs just to operate the building. We have to turn various floors on to heat and cool the areas, maintain them, and maintain all the elevators by building codes and things of that nature. So that's why it won't cost too much for us to move Gilbane in there, because we're already occupying one of the floors, and it's a very marginal increase to clean their area. We already have to heat and air conditioning and perform maintenance on those floors anyway.
How about the old courthouse?
The old courthouse, I'll be back in a couple of weeks to give you an update on the clock tower historically sensitive rehabilitation project. We have just this week got approval from the Texas Historical Commission. It's an antiquities permit that tells me that they agree to the scope of work that the architect has presented to them. So I've got that. I got that Monday. And we're putting some presentation drawings together for me to explain each and every item we plan to do to the clock tower and talk about the budgets. So in about 2 or 3 weeks, I'll have that ready to go.
Any other questions?
Now, just kudos to everybody involved in bringing this jail in so far on the budget. That's just fantastic.
It's a pretty remarkable cost section.
And if we can, hopefully we'll be able to, again, move up as quickly as possible to civil courts and try to get that to the bid stage as rapidly as possible.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Thank you, David.
Thank you.
That's all we have at this time, Your Honor.
Commissioners Court will now recess from open session and proceed to closed sessions to discuss items exempted under sections 551.071. And there being no business, we are adjourned.